Welcome to the Digital Pit Boss Show. And today we're going to deal with how to build a real Tulsa, Oklahoma Black Wall Street today in modern times. What would be a proper procedure and what would not be a proper procedure? What is likable and doable, and what is some imaginary Wakanda type shit? What is self-interest and what is group interest? These are the types of things that a group of blacks wanting to create the ideology of Tulsa, Oklahoma from the 1920s. This is what we're talking about. So first we're going to take a quick perspective at the so-called Tulsa, Oklahoma Real Estate Fund. And exactly what is the Tulsa, Oklahoma Real Estate Fund? And is it designed to create or mimic or duplicate what was done before? This is a serious conversation now. So the trolls need to sit back and just ask yourself, is Pit Boss being fair with it? Is he coming at it with real logic? Or is he just hating on Jay Morrison and the Tulsa, Oklahoma Fund, which I call a scam? Now, first, let me clarify why I call it a scam. It has all the premeditation of previous real estate funds that have existed by well-known scammers. They go by the name, I'm using the black dudes. I can get into the white people, but this is primarily, oh, hold up, we got all kind of static electricity and shit going on. Get off my line. Get off my line. Okay. I'm gonna try not to touch nothing. It seems like every time I touch the desk, it's going buck wild over here. Okay, so I have a modern day example, something that has taken place in the last, let's just say 50 years. And now it's a thriving city. It's not a black city. It's just the making of a city and how the city was created. This is a city you could physically go visit today, and you'd never know this history that I'm about to lay down to you unless you looked it up, unless you was thinking about it and decided, let me look it up. Not only am I talking about a city that I'm well aware of, but I'm talking about a city that I visited last year and spent some time there. And I was asking myself, how the hell did they create this city? I don't know why I thought that, but I looked it up last year. And this is why I'm going to be able to utilize it as an example today. Because I'm watching the making of a scam. I should call that Tulsa Real Estate Fund is the making of a scam. It is not illegally put together. It's actually well put together. I believe that an 8% preferred with a 50% chop on the back end is a bad deal for an investor. I believe locking up my money for a year on real estate projects is a bad idea for me. Now let me give Jay Morrison some credit too. When it comes to credit advice, Jay Morrison is solid. When it comes to buying and flipping a home, Jay Morrison is solid. When it comes that you should own land, Jay Morrison is solid. When it comes to technicalities and dealing with properties, Jay Morrison teaching is solid. Now, what are some of the bad things about things that he propagated? Being that Jay Morrison, self-proclaimed felon, he's unable to acquire a real estate license. Okay. So therefore, he had to work around it. I know many people like him in the real estate business back in the days and in the business today. And so if you can't get the license, you might as well do what you can do. And obviously Jay Morrison did what he had to do. And he very successful at that. So some of the naysayers feel like because we sound the alarm at a possible scam, that you're some type of hater. When in reality, you making aware the pros and cons to an investment. This is done on every investment. When you buy a home, you pay someone to come out and tell you is the value that they're asking for, is this a fair and legitimate value? And you pay them roughly between $350 and $500 to come out and give you an estimation of the home. In a word, if what they return to you is bad information, the homeowner can call them a hater. They're a goddamn hater because they came in and said, yo, the foundation, it's got some cracks in it. Some of the cracks lead to foundation walls. These things will cost you tens of thousands of dollars to reinforce. Maybe the plumbing is old and it may need to be replaced. Maybe there's a room built onto the house that wasn't done properly and may need to have the city to, you may have to get it city certified. And that may cause you to either have to tear it down or reinforce it or various measures that they may tell you because you're about to invest your money and you're looking around for someone to give you some advice, some financial advice. So all financial advisors who might advise you that something is improper could be titled a hater because they don't agree with the homeowner that this house is worth $200,000. They may return, this house is better suited at $120,000 as it might cost you $80,000 of repairs. And if that's the case, that's what their professional advice rendered. And you have to accept that. This is sound business practice. So someone comes to me and say, yo, do you think I should buy the Bitcoin? Someone well endowed on what the Bitcoin is will look into it and say, well, I think the Bitcoin is a scam. And here's why. And they would give you all kinds of information. And others who are into the Bitcoin, they'll say, you're a hater because you're not agreeing with us. We all bought in and you're a hater. Then we start to look ridiculous because nobody can give sound financial critique to an investment. What is the investment? Let's use small numbers so we can calculate this in our head. You put $1,000 in the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, and on an annual basis, if the fund returns a 30% minimum on your $1,000, Jay Morrison will give you $80 out of the $300. That's 30% of 1,000. There's still $220 left. Jay Morrison will also charge a 5% acquisition fee or whatever double-speak word he puts on to the title of that 5%. So he'll remove an additional $50 out of this money. So out of the 220, he's going to take $50, and now we're down to $170. Now, out of this $170, he's going to chop that 50-50. And so now he'll take an additional $85 and put it in his pocket. That money is now out of reach of a future Tulsa, Oklahoma, and in the reach of Jay Morrison's pocket, and the last of the profit, the last $85. That will go back into the fund, turning your $1,000 into $1,085. And then we'll repeat the process until this fund is $1 million. And every annual year, when it's time to cut, this process will be cut. Now it'll be cut from $1,085. This is the investment strategy to build what he claims is a Black Wall Street. This is not a Black Wall Street. Number one, the fund manager is getting multi-millions of dollars over the years that is totally separate from from being a part of a Tulsa, Oklahoma, assuming that you would actually buy a specific area of land and begin to develop that area of land. Every time something is bought and sold in this land, he's going to take 50% of the profit that is no longer part of the circulating dollar in that community, unless he chooses to invest his money back into the city, where he'll have 100% ownership of anything he invests his private money into. As well as you can also go in your pocket and buy something personally in the land that you will have personal control over. But in regards to a collective group, buying something in a specific area, and as a collective group, developing an economy, which includes industries, real estate, busing systems, car development plants, beaches, whatever is located, helicopter factories, whatever you decide that your city will contain, if it's going to be a collective group who's going to create it, this model that Jay Morrison has developed is not the model to do such a thing. And I would love a debate if he thinks that it is. But I know I'm not Vlad TV. I'm not some Jew speaking on the Black community with a large audience, a large multiracial audience that could give you millions of viewers. Thus, dealing with importance of fairness, I'm sure he wouldn't want to talk to me. Now, just as a hustle alone, if I just looked at it as a hustle alone, I'm all for Jay Morrison. I'm all down for it as a hustle. I wouldn't get involved. I wouldn't be a member to run the hustle, because the hustle comes with a consequence. And if you can't do the time, you shouldn't do the crime. And I just really don't want to do the time for that crime. Now, there's a few crimes I do the time for. That ain't one. So we're going to look at a real model done in modern times. Not by Black people, just by people who want to do business and build a city, a fully operational city that's thriving, a multiracial city. It could be all one race if only one race chose to do it. But in modern world, we just don't think like that. We just want to do business. We just want to make a profit. We don't have anything in our minds outside of profit. And this is exactly what the Tulsa, Oklahoma Fund ideal is, to make a profit. A profit for the investors and a profit for those who created the investment. This is what this is. This is not an idea to build a Black Wall Street. Now, these names that he's using are part of a scam in itself, because he has a targeted market called the inner city, urban city, Black America, African America, all those kinds of names that we have attached to ourselves. This is the ideology of the terms that have some sort of dearness in our heart. So everybody can think about Black Wall Street of the 1920s and feel proud that there is some history of Black people who were successful until white folks came in and burned it down. And we all dream of a Wakanda mentality, to have a city of our own that we operate and control. We dream of the opportunity. So being that most people understand Black people dream of this, he knows that I'm going to put words into my conversation that would tap into these desires that you have. So August 7th in Atlanta, he's going to have a Black Wall Street ball. Some drinking, dancing, smoking, fucking. That's the ball. That's what Black folks do when we have parties. All parties. That's what we do. We drink, we smoke, we eat, we dance, then we go home, go to the hotel, and we want to have some sex. We do a little networking. We do a little networking at the party. You know, that's all part of it. And so in reality, it's a networking event. Is it anything wrong with that? No, not at all. Great concept. Somebody, let's have a ball. Let's dress up in suits and ties and bow ties and black and white and meet up in white folks area at some very nice hotel. Pull up in your Bentleys, pull up in your Benz, pull up in your hoopties, come in an Uber, bring a Lyft, get there how you can, as long as you get there. Buy your ticket. And then when you get there, network, put somebody's phone number in your pocket, you know, hook up with each other. See what you can create out of what you can, you know, who you can meet. But the title, Black Wall Street Ball, is doublespeak. I hope I don't have to cover what doublespeak is. If you don't know what doublespeak is, just simply go to YouTube, type in William Lutz doublespeak. It's a 45-minute video of this white guy breaking down doublespeak. Kind of originated out of George Orwell's Concepts of Thinking, 1984. Various books. But anyway, doublespeak is words that contradict, that mislead. And when you call a ball a Black Wall Street ball, you're misleading. That's what makes it doublespeak. You're misleading me. You're leading me to believe that this ball has something to do with Black Wall Street. And if we think if it was a real Black Wall Street, what would this be? This would be all Black, all owned ball in a city or in a group or at a party who like-minded people would attend, all those in favor of building Black wealth. But the reality is that's not who's going to attend. Who's really going to attend is integrated Blacks who's graduated from college or found some sort of wealth, who can afford these cars and these nice suits and the ability to attend this party, to be around other wealthy Blacks. This is what it really is. It should be really called the NAACP ball. It should be really called the Spin Guard Medals List ball. It should be really called, this is funny to me. It should be really called the Martin Luther King March for Peace ball. It should be something that deals with some sort of integrated mentality of Black people, because that's who's going to be there. That's who's going to be there. And when they leave the ball, they're going to live that life. And they're going to do business with everybody, which that's what Black Wall Street did. That's what Tuskegee did. We sold bricks to everybody, but we own the brick company. Now, when I hear Jay Morrison and his wife, like they're going to use Marcus Garvey's birthday as some pinnacle point to remember, the thought of it is cool. Thank you for remembering some of our great leadership. Thank you for remembering them. There's nothing wrong with that. But once again, it's still double speak, because you're not really honoring Garvey when your underlining concept does not comply with the message Garvey left us. The mission, when the reason we're gathering in his name has nothing to do with his mission, it's misleading. Doug, if you want to come on the show, just put your email in. I'll send you the link. I'll be happy to listen to your viewpoint. You know, I would rather communicate with someone who feels like they have information and understanding. It makes the show more complex. You might know more than me. You might be able to illustrate it better than me and enhance the conversation. I'll be happy to send you the link. Even though I had a nice hour or 2 hour show I could roll, but I always get somebody who chimes in, and, you know, everybody wants to chime in. I appreciate the chiming in, but it would better help us if you come and illustrate that on the show, because I take angles and points that I know you don't know about, that I know you're not going to be able to reiterate a modern city made today in the fashion and the ideas of how Black Wall Street was created. Because the city I'm going to show you today is not a Black city, but it's the history of how the city was created. And the very history of how this particular city was created is the exact same fundamentals of how Black Wall Street was created. And we're not going to find any hedge fund, any kind of ideas that are being promoted by the double speak of Jay Morrison with this Tulsa, Oklahoma fund. See, I calmed down the rhetoric so I can speak on some real, since I'm dealing with the business mind and I don't have to deal with the conscious community mindset. Even though a lot of my fan base kind of tend to watch the conscious community, I'm so happy to be sitting here and having a subject that does not fit in the narrative of the conscious community, because I know what I'm talking about. I know how I've lived, and I know what I know. And I also know Pan-African history. And I know that Black Wall Street is a Pan-African mindset in order to create that. You cannot create a Black Wall Street with a Martin Luther King mentality. It can't be done, because Martin Luther King preached for integration, and Black Wall Street was not built by integration. It was actually built because of segregation. The circulating of the black dollar was because of segregation. The reason why we built Black businesses is because we wanted somewhere to go. We wanted a movie theater, and the white man wasn't going to come over here and build it for you. AMC wasn't going to pull up and put up one for you. So you're going to have to do it yourself. And that self-reliance is comes out of the Black nationalist and the Pan-African mentality. Self-reliance is not integration. You cannot integrate and yell self-reliance at the same time. Oh no, oh no. We're talking about economics. I appreciate the comment, Doug, and continue to comment and write whatever you like in there. I only put the offer out because, you know, I would love you on the show if you wanted to come on. And I appreciate the interaction in the chat room. I honestly do, especially when you write something that pertains to the topic. It helps us understand it from different angles. Now, see, I introduced Ephraim Taylor. Without me, that name just wouldn't be involved. It just wouldn't be involved if someone's out there speaking on it on any channel. It wouldn't be involved in their conversation. Then someone from the chat spoke on Kirk Wright, who I remembered but didn't reflect on pertaining this. And so I added that to the conversation. And now that's part of the conversation. Now that's part of the rhetoric. And that's how we do it. So I don't mind somebody out there speaking on Ephraim Taylor and showing I want you to. That's why I spoke on it, because I want it to be confronted by the whole. I wanted a more intelligent conversation about this fund, about the ideas of Black Wall Street, because in the conscious community, I was pushing Booker T. Washington as the role model on how to build Black economics, to be in control of your environment. I was pushing that, and I was being rejected by the fake Black power of modern day men, such as Umar Johnson, In the Black, Sonetta, Black News 102, another Sonetta product, the Almond Ra Squad, Garfield and the Dagger Squad. I can go on and on with various people who fight what I'm saying because they hate the Bible. Because they hate the Bible. And the reality is I kept trying to tell them that the money is located in the pockets of the Bible believers. And you can attract more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. And thus, they didn't want to get along with forgetting along, because they're pushing a satanic agenda. Luckily, I don't see that satanic agenda in Jay Morrison. I don't hear the satanic agenda coming out of his rhetoric. What I do hear coming out of Jay Morrison is he started a Jay Morrison Academy, and he wants to teach the fundamentals of finance, and he introduced the word STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, into his introduction as part of the learning techniques in order to be successful in the modern time. This fits the pit boss narrative that I've been screaming and hollering for years. And anything out there that's financially successful is going to fit the Booker T model. But what I don't hear from Jay Morrison is any understanding about the root of Black economics in America on a grand scale. That's Booker T. Washington. I only hear the limited knowledge of going to Marcus Garvey for direction, even though there is nothing left of a Marcus Garvey in operation today, but there is something left of the Booker T model in operation today. And in several countries, there is a recognition of the Booker T model in operation. The city of commerce in DC and abroad is a Booker T model, and design. Booker T built the first ideology of a city of commerce and formatted it. And when white folks seen what he had created, they loved the idea and adopted it for the nation. This is how bad Booker T was, that he was given the title of a civilization builder. Nobody else gets that title. Not even Garvey gets that title. I mean, yeah, not even Garvey gets that title, because Garvey was a student of Booker T. All Garvey's books are based and reflect Booker T. He created the UNIA after the Tuskegee blueprint, and therefore he's letting you know who the real sage of Tuskegee was, who the wizard of Tuskegee was, who the real brain of the operation was. And because we don't give him any light when we do things successful, because we don't utilize his name and give just credit where credit is due, our children never learn the truth of how to build real wealth, because they never know who created this model in America and executed it on a grand scale. Because if we would share some light, and for the fools, the fake black powers who call Booker T a coon for whatever reason, they really don't understand him. I heard people say, you know, he did the Atlanta Cotton speech. He was a coon. He wanted us to stay in the South. He wanted us to learn how to do manual labor. These are the fucking fools. These are the idiots who don't understand what Jay Morrison is doing is Booker T on a small itty bitty scale. He doesn't understand that the information that Jay Morrison is teaching in the Jay Morrison Academy is being taught on a grander scale at Tuskegee and was been around. The first real HBCU, not funded by the goddamn Jew. Well, eventually the Jew funded it, but it was a different kind of Jew. It wasn't a Zionist Jew. There are several different kinds of Jews with different frames of mind, just like there are different kind of black people with different frames of mind. And Carnegie was not quite like the Zionist Jews. There was another Jew, I believe his name was like Rosenberg. He helped Booker T build, and he also helped fund 5,000 schools in the South and develop black people long before they migrated to Harlem. Long before they went there, Booker T built you a school, an elementary school, a junior high school, a high school, and the college. Your entire learning curriculum, you can give it hands down to Booker T. There are Booker T schools all through the South. So they're not just named. Hold on, I gotta stop and read. They say W.B. Du Bois, Coonan too. Him and Garvey was semi-beefing. There wasn't no semi-beefing. They was gangster beefing. They was niggas killing each other. It was killing going on. It wasn't no semi-beefing. It was people going to jail and killing each other and causing ruckus at each other's events. And that's the perfect example, Million Man Movement. But before Du Bois fought with Garvey, he fought with Booker T. All the men surrounding Garvey was Booker T's men, educated by Booker T. This is what the part you don't know. This is the part I do know, because I preach and teach it all the time. This is the part people try to debate me. Tell me about socialist, scientific socialism, and debate me with scientific socialism and Satanism in blackface. And I just killed them in the long run. I'm getting down and they nowhere to be found. Hampton University is where it is at now because of Booker T. Washington. It was completely independent and self-sufficient for decades. Hampton University is not like Tuskegee. It don't have the same mission as Tuskegee. It's just a learning center. Booker T definitely got his foundation there. But what he set out to do was totally different. He had a totally different issue going on. And the reason for why he did it the way he did it. Tuskegee was not modeled after Howard University. Tuskegee was modeled after MIT, Michigan Institute of Technology. Tuskegee was a normal and a technical college. It was an institute, not a college. It was a college, but a technical institute. Just as MIT is an institute of technology, this is what Booker T seen as the greatest need, It wasn't even his dream. It was another man's dream. I can get that guy's name because it was already in effect when Booker T got there, but it wasn't much of anything. It was just in effect, but not much of anything. It needed leadership. The original man who created the idea went to the white man and said, I can help you get in office, but you got to give me one thing. And he said, what would you like? He said, you need to build us a school. You need to help us build a school. White man came back around and gave his brother like $2,000 after he was committed to the mayor or Congress or whatever he ran for. And with that little bitty money, they got it cracking. That was a lot of money then, but it wasn't enough. And so when Booker T got there and understood, okay, I see you got a wheelbarrow and a shovel, and y'all want to build a school, you say. Okay. So the school began in a church house, a little barn. We're going to start where we at. We're going to start from where we at. I'm glad it's a few people in attendance. Now I'm ready to get into the information. All right. So first thing is, let me show you some pictures of a city. Let's take you there. It's called Palm Coast, Florida. We're going to go look at some images. There's some beautiful pictures of a resort. You know, we're just going to look at whatever they got. Let's look at an overview. A lot of the houses have waterways and boat properties behind the house. This would be a beautiful Black Wall Street. This would be a beautiful place to live, where I'm living with all my Black people. We bought all these houses. We got all these business cracking, and we got boats in the backyard. Right? Let's go with some more. Here's another beautiful home. You see, they fence in the pools because all the bugs, And so all the pools are fenced in, and the boat sits in the back, and you just jump on this waterway and make your way out to the Atlantic Ocean, right? This is where it's located. So Palm Coast is north of Orlando, south of Jacksonville, and west or east of Gainesville. It's right there on the coast. Probably never heard of Palm Coast. Probably heard of Palm Beach, West Palm Beach, and things like that, right? This is Flagler Beach. You could go out there and watch a dolphin show or whatever they got going on, seal show. Play with the seals. Here's an overview. This is a yacht charter. This is what was built. And at one time, there was nothing there but swamp waters and trees, bushes. And it was just an empty land. And somebody decided, I'm going to build well, let's call it a Black Wall Street. Although what they intended was just to build a city. Now let's get into how they did it. This city was built by the Institute of Technology, ITT, Institute of Technology. We're right back to Booker T, because Booker T was established his Institute of Technology long before ITT developed theirs, long before. So let's read a little bit of this history. It says, before 1969, land that eventually became the city of Palm Coast was considered by some as big pine-covered swamp. But when the corporate eyes of ITT, Levet, looked upon virtually uninhabited land, they saw 22,000 acres of golf course, marines, ocean fronts, motels, scenic drives, and house lots awaiting the arrival of sun-sinking pioneers. Marketing strategies targeting urban residents in North and Midwest offered slices of land cut out of miles of forest, and as soon as 500-mile infrastructures of roads, utilities, and sewer lines bound Palm Coast to a future that included becoming the largest planned unit development in Florida history. ITT, which began as an international communication firm in the 1930s, communications firm. In 1930, Black Wall Street been destroyed, Booker T been dead, Garvey about to be deported. Provided the financial muscles to purchase large tracts of land. So here's the first stage. We have an technical institute who has developed brains of technical knowledge and accumulated wealth through an industry of technology. And years later, after the root has been developed, after ITT has been created, developed, and educated many people, it is now a multi-billion-dollar company, and it is now in the position to develop cities on their own, self-sufficient and independent. And the first stage is the purchasing of the land. 22,000 acres. They purchased that. They own it all. So the purchase of large tracts of land and construct the infrastructure. Now understand that ITT can provide jobs anywhere because technology uses its clientele on a global level. And so where they house the company doesn't require a developed city. They can create the economy. So not only did they buy the land, they also have the ability to institute the economy instantly, meaning you can come there and work for ITT at the very early stages. And they already have the wealth accumulated to prepare the infrastructure, to build the roads. They coming from scratch. They coming from swampland to Palm Coast. The grand opening of Palm Coast occurred October 29th, 1970. Oh man, that's 50 years ago. The grand opening. The first public building, a welcome center, served as a hub for sales activities, and a 54-foot high observation tower provided a panoramic view of the surrounding woods, lakes, streams, intercoastal waterways, and Atlantic Ocean. It proceeded over a golf course, model homes, canals, and an early home construction. So the very first thing they did was create this big tower, so that since everything is not developed, they can't get you in a truck and drive you out there to the location. But they can create a nice golf course, some model homes on the golf course, maybe a few little small diners, and then invite investors to come. Who are these investors going to be? Well, first of all, we want to invite the retirees, people who have money that don't need a job. Let's invite them. They'll start it off by buying houses and taking plots to build neighborhoods. They have already planned out the city. One of the things they did, there'll be no ghettos built in the city. Zero. They don't want it. And also, there'll be no racial lines. You cannot say a black can't buy here and a white can't buy there and a Mexican can't move here and a Cuban can't. Everybody is invited, and you can live and buy your home where you choose, and there'll be no ghettos created. We ain't doing none of that shit they did in Harlem. We don't want that model. We want a Black Wall Street model without the segregation. This is what's happening. Earliest pioneers occupied their homes in January 1972. So from the introduction of 1970, 2 years later, they started moving in. From their start in 1969 until ITT withdrew in 1995, the corporation provided most of the services and leadership in Palm Coast. They had planned, built, and maintained a model environmental community. In a unique private government relationship, ITT financed Palm Coast most necessary improvements. The interchange at I-95 and the Hammock Dunes Bridge were funded at a relatively unnoticeable cost to local taxpayers and the state. As ITT withdrew from Palm Coast, the void left by its departure was increasingly felt in the community, and the process of incorporation began. So basically, they carried the city from 1970 or 69 until 1995. They were the thrusting engine. But now the city is on its way to being independently prosperous without ITT. ITT withdrew and the city incorporated itself. And you guys can get into the technicalities of what the incorporation means, but nevertheless, it now can survive without the engine. Although they felt the economic blow when ITT pulled back, the city can still function. It is now multiple businesses there that can provide economics for the residents. Without the economics nearby, a home is just a cave. It's just a cave. It's just somewhere to dwell. It ain't worth much if there is no economics nearby. On September 21, 1999, 1 week after the hurricane, Floyd postponed the vote. 65.6% of nearly 12,000 voters casting ballots opt to turn the unincorporated population center of Flagler County into a city. On December 31st, 1999, residents of Palm Coast celebrated the end of the millennium and a century, plus a new year. Palm Coast population on January 1st, 2000 was estimated at 29,360. Mayor Jim Canfield, the city council, and the city managers initially focused on planning for issues facing a new city, providing residents with essential government services, and promoting the community's economic growth were two major goals. There we go. Now that they're incorporated and becoming a city, prior to, they're a private town, unincorporated. These are legal terms that deal with governmental issues in regarding your area. But it's really not necessary to deal with that in this context of what we're speaking. We're just talking about the development of a city. How do you build a Black Wall Street? What are the real ingredients? Yet we still haven't read about some ridiculous hedge fund incorporation in order to It was ITT was the financial engine, and they were selling plots to individuals who had the financial capacity to live here, to develop the early stage. And then now you could move to Palm Coast with no money, go to school there, maybe down the street in Orlando, then come and get a job and survive. Now, but you wouldn't have been able to do that in 1972. If you didn't have any money, it was going to be very difficult unless you worked for ITT. All right. In the future, a beautiful new Florida hospital flager opened near the SR 100 and the I-95 interchange. Palm Coast purchased its own water company, relocated its city hall after selling its building to a brand new business, approved European Village, and an annex 5,800 acres in the northwest corner of Flagler County, near the St. Johns County line. A 1,500-acre site for the town center was approved, providing office, retail, institutional, and commercial spaces. Palm Coast was officially designated the fastest growing metropolitan area in the country by the U.S. Census Bureau. The population had more than doubled to over 64,500 since incorporation in 2006. Cobblestone Village started the construction of Palm Coast and was named Tree City, USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation. Discount supercenters and several major department stores opened, as well as many local and national chain restaurants. The city had reason to celebrate its dynamic decade and its 10th anniversary. Today, Palm Coast approximately 76,450 residents. A vibrant lifestyle and a natural environment go hand in hand with 13 beautiful parks, 125 plus miles of connecting trails and paths for walking and bicycling, abundant fishing and boating, a year-round running series, a world-class tennis and golf. The community offers excellent schools, a business district center, and promotes local businesses and extensive city services. That Palm Coast, a great place to live, work, and play. We invited you to join us. Find your Florida in Palm Coast. That is how you build a city. This is the makeup of the real ideological way to create a Tulsa, Oklahoma. So now how could we do that today? Where is our Black ITT? Who is that? Well, we would probably, because since we don't really own and operate any industries, and we're in Atlanta, we could go get that guy who, the movie maker. He got some money. What's his name? What's the guy who makes all the movies in Atlanta? The black guy. Anybody know? He got the movie where he dressed up like the old lady And he just did Own with Oprah, Tyler Perry. So we would need the Tyler Perry type in Atlanta to go just north, south, east, or west of Atlanta. And let's say he builds there a movie studio, because he already built one in Atlanta. So let's say we go to this abandoned town 2 hours from Atlanta. And Tyler Perry is going to come there and he's going to put a movie studio there. Huge one, bigger than the one he has in Atlanta. Immediately, he's already connected to Hollywood. He's going to get the movie deals. He's already connected to Oprah. He's going to get that. Oprah's going to come there and put a studio in his area. And now we have a very solid foundation of an economic vehicle. Him and Oprah and some other black wealthy billionaires decide they're going to buy up all the acres around this studio until, let's assume, 10 black people with billions of dollars have bought us 22,000 acres, the size of Palm Coast. And Tyler Perry is going to be the first major economic vehicle to plant a business there that is self-sustainable there, because Hollywood doesn't care where the studio is built. And so we all move in there because we're working for Hollywood through Tyler Perry. And then you're going to buy a house somewhere near it and start to develop the city around this movie studio. This would be the equivalent of a Palm Coast or a Black Wall Street. We need a major vehicle, economic vehicle. This Tulsa, Oklahoma fund is not an economic vehicle of this magnitude. This is only enriching the 5 or 6 people that work for Tulsa, Oklahoma. They are not going to move in the same neighborhood and live next door each other in some abandoned town that they bought. They're not going to do that. They love Buckhead. They love the Perimeter Mall. They love the Lenox Mall. They love this shit out here. They're not going to be moving out to no goddamn rural area. All this money. That's not what's going to happen. Oh, SoFly, I was going to win you over. It wasn't going to take but a couple more shows, because I tried to tell you from the rip. You new to my show. I've been pushing Booker T, STEM program, the development of Pan-Africanism, pre-Garvey for 5 years on this thing. Fighting all these demonic demons who don't know how to develop. Mad at the white man for the wrong reasons and love black people for the wrong reasons. They fucked on both ends of the stick. Both ends of the stick. Now, what's really happening here is a hustler playing on your emotions, utilizing words that you are fond of. Black Wall Street, ball. Stop it, boy. Stop it, kid. Rich kid. Stop it, rich kid. Quit playing with my emotions. The Tulsa, Oklahoma real estate fund. Boy, stop it, kid. Please stop it, rich kid. Please stop it. You're playing with my emotions. Black empowerment. You're not black empowerment. Stop it, kid. Stop it, rich kid. Quit playing with my emotions. You self-empowerment of yourself. The rest of us, especially the idiot that he put on there that dropped $40,000. Oh my God, boy, stop it, kid. Stop it, kids. We see you got all that bread. You ain't the first kids to have no money. Stop it, boy. We got all kind of rappers run. 50 Cent got 250 million from vitamin water years ago when he was a kid. His bitch ass ain't gonna do nothing other than ball out and get more money and ball out. Integrationist mentality will never build a Black Wall Street. Kid, boy, stop it, kid. I know the real history, kid. I run the spin guard metals lift off on your ass, kid. And I'll show you everybody you think like, kid, and everybody you do not think like, kid. But I love your hustle, though, kid. I love it. You got these lame duck niggas out here. Break them. If they sleep, break them. If they playing, take them. If they gullible, gup them. Be ruthless. Like Eazy-E and NWA. Be ruthless. Start swinging on these niggas till they toothless. Kid. Get to the money. Because it ain't no fairness in this economic world we live in. There is no Black unifying mentality among us today. Oh no, oh no. We have already gave in. We have socialists, Marxists as our professors in our Black Afrocentric colleges studies department. We have Black Republican conservative integrationists as our role models of education. We have Democratic Socialist Marxists as our political body working for the international Jew, the Zionist Jew, and that's where we at today. Pan-Africanism died and went underground when Marcus Garvey was deported. That fake comedic Pan-Africanism that popped up in the 70s was a fraud. And everybody running around talking about they Pan-Africanists, obviously you're not a Black nationalist Christian viewpoint of Marcus Garvey, Booker T, Martin Delany, Edward Blyden, Nat Turner, and the rest. You're more of an integrationist atheist like Frederick Douglass, W.E.B. Du Bois, every member on the goddamn NAACP's spin guard list, all the Black actors of Hollywood, all these rap niggas in the rap game, all these fake niggas running around with all this money doing nigga shit. We don't have no real shit going on. We got nigga shit going on every level, in every group, among all of us. Just nigga shit. Nobody wants to speak on the real shit. It's too hard of a task. Too hard of a task. Anybody want to come on the show and speak on something? Just put your email in the chat room. I'll send you the link. You don't have to show us your face. You can just speak on and get on. Do what you like. But it would be most interesting if you really knew your point of view, especially if you disagree with me, because I can keep showing you Palm Coast, Florida, all over the place. I can keep showing you the example. I can keep linking it to the stem. I can pull the stem to Booker T. I can pull the stem to MIT. I could show you the missile defense program at MIT, and I can't show you shit solid from the integrationist mindset of the boule. I can't show you how this narrative builds Black Wall Streets. I cannot connect that dot. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad that y'all fall for the Rolex watch and the 28-inch rims with the wet paint still. Y'all still going for, nigga, my rims is spinning. Nigga, the rims is spinning. Y'all still go for that shit. And you're going to always go for that shit. Because the only body who knows something to you is if they put on a suit, get a fresh fade, some fresh socks and shoes, and speak eloquent with an integrated mind in front of you. That's what you want. That's what you have been programmed to want. But if the real come over here, and tell you that economic freedom is going to come at the cost of your blood, and there is no other way you're going to get it. You're not going to get a one little billionaire to come over here and lay down a city. Eventually, if you become too successful, the Zionists are going to show up. They're going to show up. They come in the form of lawyers at first. Let me give you another example. Two men set out to create a hamburger shop called McDonald's. You all seen this movie, I hope. The Founder. Another guy selling Frosty Shake mixes gets a large order from California somewhere. He can't sell one in the area he's in. He gets a company wants to buy 6. He like, oh shit. How much burgers and shakes are they selling? He drives out here to take a look. Great movie, The Founder. He finds these guys with a wonderful concept. He decides, I want to represent you. I want to put McDonald's all over the place. So he goes out and he starts representing. He's selling a few McDonald's. And then a Jew walks up out of nowhere. Says, hey, bro, I've tried the hamburger. It's great. I love the logo. I love the outfit. I love everything about this thing. I eat it every day. I love it. I'm a lawyer. I could help you take this thing to the top. He says, well, you know, I'm kind of bound by the owners. They don't want to move the way I want to move. He said, don't worry about them. They don't know nothing except how to make a hamburger. I'm going to show you how to take over. And the Jew creates a real estate company. I think his name was Krog or something like that. Mr. Krog or something like that. And he creates a real estate company to get around the contract that he had with McDonald's. And he says, I'll buy the land. They can own the building on the land. I control everything outside the building. They control everything inside the building. If I disagree with something they're doing inside the building, I'll cancel the lease. And that'll be the end of the business. So he started buying the land and putting those McDonald's owned by McDonald's. But the land was owned by McDonald's real estate. And after purchasing all of these McDonald's and getting real estate rich, he went to the founders and said, look, I'll tell you what. I love your burger. You're some great guys. Take this $1 million and get your ass on up out of here. Oh my God. Oh my God. Worked them. Now, it was a whole court case and various things. At the end of the day, he was absolutely right. He took McDonald's from them. And now McDonald's is one of the most successful franchises, selling soy burgers, selling, wait, I got to say it right. Selling some of that green, damn it, Soylent Green. They selling Soylent Green at McDonald's. making billions. So see, economics is a vicious cycle. And y'all have created a monster. You don't even know it yet. Because if you built a Tulsa, Oklahoma, based on the model that he's sharing, the whole entire city of Palm Coast would be owned by this fund, controlled by one man, Jay Morrison, the royalty. His wedding is called the royalty. What the fuck? Nigga, you ain't no Harry. You ain't no Prince Harry. Nigga, you just Harry all over. Fuck is you talking about the royalty? He's gonna have this wild out wedding. I can only already start the price at 100,000. And that's cheap as shit for the royalty that he is. I'm gonna put the wedding at 500 grand so he can match Kurt Wright, who did it before. This wedding is going to be on TV for you. Eat tickets. He gonna put it on big. He already shooting high-end commercials now. He's showing you where he's gonna spend that bread on propaganda. Because in order to get the other $40 million he needs to ramp up the propaganda. So he's going to continue to double speak your emotions and use words and phrases that make you affiliate to Black power, but don't have none. To make you affiliate to a Black Wall Street, but won't build one. To make you affiliate to a Black circulating dollar, but you'll never see one. You're going to be conned in the long run. It's going to take a few years. Pit Boss ain't going to be talking about this shit for the next few years. I'm going to sit back and cheer the nigga on. Get these dumbass niggas. I'm going to take down all the dumb niggas' names when he put out the big ass cement statue with all the dumb nigga names on it. I'm going to walk up and say, here you go, people. Here go the names of the dumbest niggas around us. Soon as they get broke, soon as he run off with all their money, we can get back to business. But right now, we're going to call these niggas cheerleaders. All these dumb niggas who done lost all their money in this shit. Ain't going to be the first time. You ain't going to be the first group. Don't feel so bad. You can go back and make some more money. If you want to build a Tulsa, Oklahoma, we got to first find out what Black man is in control of an institution or an industry and convince that Black man to purchase a tract of land somewhere in America and get the ball rolling and put an industry there that we can move to and work for in the very beginning. Then we have to go get all the old cats who got bread and retired and ask them to retire in this town so we can get a population there that does not require a job and can just ride around on golf carts, our old school community. And then they can in turn invest some of their retired savings into the community. Then we need to get all the broke people down there to do all the dirty work, sweep the floor, pull all the weeds up, and pay them a little small money so they can stay working. And then give them some rental properties that they can rent out until they finally build themselves up enough money to purchase in the city. And then we got to come up with some sort of agreement about how we utilize the sale of properties here so that invaders from outside can't come in, buy up our shit, and move us up out of our town. But what you can't do is put all the fucking controls into one nigga where he can just do what the fuck he want. Fuck that. That ain't how it worked. That ain't never how it worked. That ain't how it's gonna work in the future. We ain't in the dictatorship. We in the black cooperation and economics for black development and power. I'm Digital Pit Boss, and I'm the realest